Testing 1, 2. All right. Sorry, I said it firsters. Your man, Farmahaj the God, promised you a show last night under historic terms. I was ready to put in my 2 cents, and in preparation for the show, I took an edible. 2 edibles, actually. Early enough because I couldn't smoke because all my kids were still up, and I wanted to be in the right mental state. However, the edibles worked too well, and your boy went to sleep. Hopefully you guys can hear me. As you can see, this is a different mic than I'm accustomed to because this one is not acting right. I have some jazz playing in the background. Tonight's going to be a little different kind of show. As you all well aware, some crazy shit happened yesterday in the Capitol. So I just gotta, for posterity's sake, is it posterity or posterity? I think it's posterity. For posterity's sake, I just gotta get my 2 cents in. It'd have been so much better if I would have actually did this last night. Because as you know, the name of the show is I Said It First. So I like credit. That's all I want. I just want credit for all my brilliant ideas. I don't have my water bottle here. The cotton mouth is kicking in. That's okay. Unfortunately, everybody already said it. I don't know how much new insight I can provide. The obvious one is, had them been niggas, and by niggas I mean black niggas, not white niggas, not the white niggas who stormed the Capitol because of the revolution. But black niggas, there would have been a whole lot of bloodshed. Speaking of which, for those loyal watchers of yours truly in the I Said It First live stream podcast internet platform, you're well aware that your boy predicted months ago. I said I didn't know who was going to win the election, but what I did know was there would be bloodshed. Now, to my credit, I'm right. Where I was wrong at, although I said bloodshed, I did not think that blood would be shed in the actual Capitol. That was a bit surprising. And I'm actually surprised there was so little bloodshed. I thought there'd be riots in the street. So when I said there'd be bloodshed, I was thinking in, small town America and just where people, can bump heads, just, street brawling and militias and all that kind of shit. But that didn't occur. It occurred at the fucking Capitol. With the we gotta watch this together, folks. So while I'm just rambling, I know you've all seen it, but there's nothing like a shared experience, a collective cathartic experience where we can all laugh at the Negro cop who was scared shitless by bullies that were storming the Capitol. Here's the crazy thing. There's a few narratives that are kind of, you see how when things happen quickly, there's a rush to like kind of define what happened, right? And you can see now how people are already conflated, like people on the right who are horrified by what happened still have to somehow conflate and draw this false equivalency between because now all protest that is not a MAGA protest is by definition a Black Lives Matter protest. And you guys who watch the show know I feel about Black Lives Matter. The thing that's also doubly annoying about Black Lives Matter is the enemy list they have curated is befuddling, right? The way they attack Black Lives Matter, you would think they were an actual revolutionary group. They're not. That's not the end game for Black Lives Matter. They're pumping out t-shirts. They're doing woke shit. They're not really striking fear in the hearts of the powerful, right? But nonetheless, if somebody gets shot, right, or knelt to death by officers of the law, there's going to be protests most of the time. And at that protest, there will be some Black Lives Matter signs. Every person at that protest is not, Black Lives Matter. And there might be multiple protests. It's not an organized thing like we saw yesterday. So to assign blame and to conflate those two things is ridiculous. And it's lazy. So that's the problem I have with people like, what's the boy's name from The Hill? I like the woman. I forgot her name, but her partner, I think, name is Zagar or some shit like that. Some Indian dude. But the point is, they're trying to muffle the critique and the outrage about what happened, and they're outraged themselves. But they'll say it's both sides. No, it's not both sides. And I'm not a Democrat. People that know me know I hate Nancy Pelosi, but not the way right wingers hate her. I'm a progressive. I'm a progressive who likes guns. I'm a progressive who likes guns and money. Okay, so I don't really fit in any of these camps necessarily. But it's not the same thing. More importantly, even if it were, what occurred yesterday, and others have pointed this out. Instead of tonight's show being I said it first, it's I'll repeat what you've all said. Yesterday was a national security crisis. Think about it. And this part, I don't think I heard anybody said. Maybe they did. I've been watching a shit ton of CNN. That's what they're good for. When shit goes crazy, they got cameras everywhere. But I don't know exactly how the what's it called, chain of command goes. But I know it's president, vice president, speaker of the House, and I think the fourth highest in the line of succession is, I think, the majority leader from the Senate. I think that's how it goes. So 3 of the 4 highest ranking people in the government of the most powerful country in the world were in a building that was actively penetrated by seditionists. Right? So I don't give a fuck what Black Lives Matter did at whatever protest. It ain't the same. In the words of Paulie, not Paulie, the other guy, the gray-haired guy on The Sopranos, it's apples and fucking bowling balls. It ain't the same thing. In the words of my man Jules from Pulp Fiction, it ain't the same. What is it? It ain't. It's not the same ballpark. It ain't the same fucking sport. Okay, they're completely different. The Capitol is not only sensitive in a strategic sense, particularly when you have both houses there. Like they were fucking certifying the election. Not only is that a unique situation, which even without the explicit and implicit threats online and directly from the president, seems like it would be a time in which there would be security on the ground, in the air, in the water, like forget about internally, just externally, right? Wouldn't you expect the Congress, the Capitol to be secure? And don't you think that when foreign adversaries or even allies are watching that, they're thinking, I'll remember this for the next time the United States pisses us off, or we're in a funk with them, or we want to get back at them. They don't have to take credit necessarily. Just imagine just sending your own henchmen in, right? We know that if it ain't black folks or black adjacent, the cops will let you in. And we're going to get to the cops here in a moment, because I think my perspective is not necessarily unique, but others are kind of like skirting the issue, but they're not really like dealing with it dead on. But first, before we get into that, we have to watch our man, the bravest man in the world. And of course, I'm being sarcastic here. Let me go to screen share so we can watch this together. Let me close all these fucking windows out. Okay, okay. Let's go back over here. Let's go to screen share. Right here. Are we sharing the screen? All right. And you guys have all seen it. But, oh, did I fuck it up? Here we go. Look at your boy. Now, okay, there's a doorway. You have an active session of Congress with everybody there. Shoot them. Like, this is the time to shoot people. This is when he went home with the popcorn, like, shoot these niggas. All right, let's keep watching. Back up before I run away. I'm fast. He is out. Bruh, if you gonna run up the steps, that's somebody's talking to me. That's my music. I forgot. If you go up the steps, don't be fat and out of shape. Now, why not just bust his hole right there? Just right across the jaw. If you're not going to shoot him, rough him up. This is what I understand about cops. Shoot him. Oh, let me just keep watching. I got my comments after. One, two, three, four cops, and probably some on this side, and those protesters going through. They got one entry point, looks like there, right? Clearly, these guys weren't in the military, right? They got these guys funneled in. Now, I don't know if there's access around the corner there, but they're all coming through that same orifice, if you will, the doorway, archway, whatever. Mow them motherfuckers down. Here's the way people work. People are scared to die. Right, you ever seen like one guy fight 3 or 4 niggas, or like there's like a mob and people think he's gonna get his ass whooped? You drop that first guy, his buddy there, who had all that heart when it was a mob, see the big guy go down. That's why when you're about to get jumped, you sock the biggest dude they got, right? Because the other motherfuckers is gonna run, right? That nigga there with the shaking his head, looking all cocky, he was their leader. Put 2 in his chest, the mother joker's gonna turncoat and run. All right. And Hey Google, volume 3. I don't know what the volume is now. All right, that's a bit better. It's getting a little loud. When you want the cops to shoot somebody, they don't shoot them, right? Another reason I hate cops because they shoot people. I hate cops because they don't shoot people. Right? All the black niggas you done shot, and he's a black cop. And that's why black people like me, we don't look at black cops as black people. They blue people, right? Shoot them motherfuckers dead in their tracks. But here's the other thing, and this is the thing I want to say directly, that I think people are saying, like in private conversations, but they won't say on social media, whatever. And I said this first too, way back in the older show. Actually, other people said it before me, but I didn't say it just because of yesterday. I talked about cops, nurses, and prison guards, right? As the uneducated whites that are the front lines of making life and death decisions. Not all, but I'm saying if you're an uneducated white person and racist, becoming a cop, nurse, or prison guard gives you elevated power in relation to your education. Not the education, but education does have some value, right? It does kind of flatten people out. Takes a bit of the rough edges away. Education can also be dangerous if you are malignant and corrupt and immoral. Then you could become Ted Cruz or this asshole Holly. And I want to just digress for a moment and talk about people like Ted Cruz and Holly, who provide the pseudo intellectual cover for the dipshits like Trump and his mob. They are the real threat and the criminals. I'm gonna talk about Trump here in a minute, but what Holly, Cruz, and there's a couple other motherfuckers and Republicans did is unconscionable. I'm not even talking about the little stuff they're gonna. I get it. They're playing politics. They want to ride that wave, collect like Trump voters by proxy because they want to hug Trump as tight as possible on the way out the door, right? And they feel like they're gonna curry favor with the Trump voters. However, I think that's there's no evidence that that's gonna happen. And we'll find out, right? We'll find out the next time they're for re-election. But nonetheless, people have to be about something bigger than their jobs, whether it's politicians or whatever it is you do. You have to put something above employment. I get that being a senator and the potential to be a president is an exciting proposition, right? Particularly like that seat of power, so close to power. There's a hell of a lure to becoming that next person, right? Particularly those who are jockeying for position to become president, or people who just love the Senate and want to stay there till they fucking die, right? I get it. However, you'll be fine. And I think that's like the major difference between the elites, particularly people who come from money and have made it, and particularly if you benefited from white privilege. Let me digress too. The next time, I want every black person or every allied white person to save that video of the cop. Save 2 videos. The one where the cops let the seditionist in through the barricade, and the other one with the black cop running from him. People say, well, white privilege. Just show them the video. That's all you got to do. In the dictionary, they should have a video dictionaries in the future because nothing's going to be written anymore. Just when the white privilege, the videos, right? Because that's all it is, right? But I don't know what the delay is, but all these motherfuckers are on camera. Now, as I recall, they were using, I think the company's name is Plantar, something like that, but they were getting niggas from Ferguson years ago. When that was a while ago. Technology's improved a lot. They were snatching niggas up weeks after the protest. A legit protest, not that bullshit from yesterday, right? Where are their arrests? And what is taking so long? I heard there were like 40 arrests yesterday. Compare and contrast that to the last Black Lives Matter protest in DC. There are over 400 arrests. And that protest wasn't at the Capitol during an active session of both houses of Congress. The parallels are just comical, right? And you can keep talking that shit about cancel culture and, you know, whatever. And I get it. They're fucking annoying, whatever. But Trump should not be allowed on Twitter, right? It is a threat, is a threat to the country, factually. Now, should every person that says a bad thing be banned from media? No. But just like the president has pardon authority, just like generals can send people to war to die or, you know, whatever, everybody's not equal. So when you have proven yourself to be a cult leader, right, we deal with you accordingly. If President Trump in the next 13 days says do it again, they'll do it again, right? And how would he communicate that message? He would communicate it via Twitter, right? So Twitter as a platform for him is essentially a military communication tool potentially, right? And if a person has acted in such a way they've proven themselves to be an enemy of the state, even if that person is the president, they should be silenced. Like, that is just like a practical reaction to an attempted coup, right? Because let's say those dipshits would have been successful, or the pipe bombs would have went off. Because they, oh, by the way, newsflash, they found pipe bombs, like a few of them, right? Let's say that Pelosi, Pence, and McConnell were all killed yesterday. Then what? I mean, you just have Trump left, right? The votes wouldn't have been ratified. Then what happens? I don't think anybody knows. Like, where's the mechanism in place to ensure a successful secession if things don't occur in a timely fashion? It seems to me that what has been laid bare in the Trump presidency is that if you thought democracy was fragile, it's way more fragile than you imagined. If you thought it was sturdy, you were fucking naive. All right. Now, I'm sure you guys have heard, if you're a CNN watcher or whatever, there's chatter and talk about Trump being impeached in the next 13 days. Now, I think it doesn't stand a chance. However, I wouldn't completely rule it out, and here's why. It's not because of the statement it'll make and none of that bullshit. The reason why you would impeach Trump, and I don't think it's so much the Democrats, it's the Republicans. Here's why. Once you're impeached successfully, not just there's once you're convicted, right? So there's the impeachment is the process, then they vote. And if you're convicted, if you are impeached, meaning they put you out of office, you can never run again. You can never run for office ever. So think about that. If you're the Republicans and you witnessed what you witnessed yesterday, if you're the Mitch McConnell of the world, I think that Mitch McConnell specifically and people of his ilk were genuinely outraged. For these people, you got to imagine like the United States to them is like it's sacred for them. The way you feel about your church or your family or your home, they feel like the Capitol, the Lincoln thing, that shit makes them get like, warm and fuzzy and teary-eyed. Like they love it, right? What we witnessed yesterday was an offense to their religion, to their sacred artifacts, right? They're fucking pissed off. Now, they played this game with Trump because they're able to use him and kind of stroke his ego to get what they wanted out of him. They got tax cuts and they got judges with aplomb. Right? They weren't slowed down at all. They got everything they wanted out of Trump and gave him like this much wall. And his supporters never gave a shit about the wall, right? They just gave a shit about the braggadocio and the dog whistle, the racist shit. That wasn't a bug, it was a feature. But now that we see that he will actually follow through with violence on the sacred grounds of the Capitol, they got a problem. Because this motherfucker will run in 2024 if he's not impeached or if New York doesn't put his ass in jail. Now, D.C. can also put him in jail. However, that's federal, so I don't know how that works because D.C. is not a state. Now, if they become a state, I don't know. Anywho, I think that'll be interesting to watch what Mitch McConnell, Mike Pence, and the Mitt Romney types of the world will do in the next few days. Because if there's you can be sure, right? There are discussions going on right now. Right now, they got backroom deals. And these motherfuckers, look, it's a horse race. They're just measuring, they're weighing their options. And all it takes is a few motherfuckers who really don't care, or they're old enough, they're like, look, I love America, and not on my watch. This shit will not happen. You take a few people who are willing to sacrifice one more term in office, that motherfucker's gone. I don't know if I want to predict it or not. If I predict it, then I get extra credit, right? And if I'm wrong, nobody remembers. So, without further ado, Farmer Hodge to God has a prediction. President Trump will be impeached and convicted or leave office before the handover of power under threat of impeachment. That was worth the price of admission. Now remember, when he's impeached, it's not some moral whatever. It's a little bit of that because like you're fucking with their sacred idols, right? That Capitol shit. You got that picture of that motherfucker with the Confederate flag walking through the Capitol is history, right? That shit right there. It'll be taught in history books going forward. 100. And I can't do the math right now. 100 and fucking almost. Wait, what was the goddamn? So 200 years after the Civil War would be 2065 minus. See how I worked that math out, folks? Minus 40, minus 4. So 44, 200. So 136 years ago, or whatever. After the Civil War, the South planted the flag at the Capitol. Can you believe that shit? Just think about that. You've read in history and all, and the South will rise again. They did. That's all this is about. You look at the symbolism, right? It ain't got shit to do with vote counting and taxes or a wall, none of that shit. It's about put these niggas in their place. Always has been. When white folks ask you, why do you guys only talk about race? Why do you guys don't come about identity politics? Because you do. Y'all motherfuckers just ain't brave enough to say it. You like to hide and talk about guns and your monuments. You're arguing about monuments to motherfuckers who are traitors to the country. And then you march in, seize the Capitol, and plant their flag. Now, I don't want to ever hear a motherfucker talk to me about monuments or even to have the audacity to speak about it on TV with any seriousness. All right? Snatch all the motherfuckers down. Make it a federal offense to have a goddamn Confederate flag. And I don't give a shit about the slippery slope. Fuck them. Fuck your free speech. We have a virus. And I ain't talking about the Rona. I'm talking about what's one word that would, because I think racism is overused. It's something else. I'm talking about there's something about the entitlement of the goddamn white man that this is your country. And the irony is it's not yours. If anything, it's everybody's, right? Because it's like everybody borrowed this motherfucker from the native peoples, right? And I use the term borrowed loosely. It was stolen, but we're all here, right? Should I smoke? I'm going to America Junior on Saturday. And by America Junior, I'm talking about Puerto Rico. Oh, I'm getting the fuck out of here, people. Taking me a 2-month sabbatical because I figured, fuck it. Kids is home from school anyway. Why am I sitting here? And I want to be cold in January and February. So I'm going to be like a birdie and get up out of here. If I'm able to, I will continue doing the podcast. But from the beach, don't hate a nigga. That'd be kind of slick, right? Midnight, the waves and shit. But you know the Puerto Ricans ain't got no internet. Not no fast internet. The niggas be happy when they got like 30 megabits per second. What were some other thoughts? If the cops, I don't get. Did I say this not? But, and I might have said it. No, I got off track. Okay, people are skirting around this issue about, you know, why the police didn't kill them or beat their ass like they do black people, whatever. The reason why is because if they weren't working that day, they would have been in the crowd with them. That's their people. Everybody has implicit bias. Look, I think as a country, we're in this relationship. Right? When you live in a country with somebody, it's like living in a house, but a bigger one. Right? And they always say inside of a relationship, the first thing you have to do before you can make any progress is you have to admit to your fault or what your problem is in the context of that relationship, right? So, as people who live in America, I'm not going to say Americans, as people who all reside here, right? We all have +1 country code, right? We have to admit the fact that we don't like each other. As a matter of fact, we hate each other. And if we are to not see something like that and hope for a better future collectively, that would have to be fixed, right? Hating your neighbors is a fucking problem. And I'll be the first to tell you, I fucking hate those people. I hate all MAGA people. I hate them. Right? And if I'm being honest, I don't want to say, at least publicly, that I want the cops to shoot all the motherfuckers, but Um, some ass whoopings would have been nice. I mean, beat the shit out of them. And they probably feel the same way my black people getting their ass beat, even if it's for nothing. Now, the difference, I think, is they fucking deserved it. And there were a bunch of black people breaking in the Capitol, some of them with pipe bombs, threatening the sovereignty of the nation itself. I think I wouldn't have a problem with it if they got their ass beat or shot. Sometimes, you get what you deserve. And here's the thing that I want to say about just being a man or standing for something bigger than yourself, right? The sacrifice that it takes and the courage required. So here's the thing. Cops talk a lot of shit and get a lot of leeway and credit and tears and attaboys and ticker tape parades and bagpipes playing when they get killed because ostensibly they're brave, they're heroes, and the job's difficult, right? That's what they always say. So if you want all the cop privileges, at the very least, you gotta be what you say you are. If the job is that tough, it should be clear and obvious. And your actions should always demonstrate the difficulty and the bravery in action that you assert in words. When those cops started taking selfies and running upstairs and opening gates, they're in dereliction of their duty. Now, cops may wear uniforms and get inside or line up in pretend formations and play soldiers. They're not soldiers. All right. I was a soldier. I served my time. And this is what they teach you in the Army. If you leave your post in a time of war, your ass will face the firing squad. Period. They will shoot your ass to death. Ain't no appeals on it. Take that motherfucker, put a black bag over him, send his ass to Leavenworth, he gets shot. Or they can shoot you right there on the battlefield. All right? You're a coward. Now, I was debating with my mans, and he could see, he was like, man, there was so many of them, they could have, he's probably scared if he shot one, they might have bum rushed him and killed him. So, the nation was under siege, and you're the last line of defense, and you got a mob coming in, visibly not with any visible weapons drawn. Shoot them, and they will scatter. And even if you die a hero, because you the police, you're defending the Capitol, and the fucking sovereignty of the nation is at stake because you have terrorists, seditionists storming the building, and your ass run. How is that not criminal? Imagine, say the Capitol, because people get kids, right? As a matter of fact, it happened. Think about Florida when that fucking cop was running, and niggas, I don't know if he had already started shooting or just walked up into school. The cop ran, the kids died, right? We understood what a coward he was. I don't know if he went to jail or not, but I know he was fired or he quit or whatever the fuck it was. I don't know if these cops are getting in trouble. I haven't heard anything about it, but they need to go to jail. Now, it shouldn't it shouldn't end there. I understand people resigning. That ain't good enough. The Capitol Hill Police, or whatever the fuck it's called, Capitol Police chief resigned today. He should go to jail. President Trump should be impeached, morally and politically. I mean, just as a tactic. If you don't want him anymore, you have to impeach him. Because if he runs in 2024, all the motherfuckers out there are voting for him again. You can believe that. The way out of this funk, out of this division, in addition to just like massive reckoning, like we need truth and reconciliation like South Africa. Because if America don't deal with its original sin, right, slavery and the consequences of that, we'll be here again. You can bank it. Now, another prediction I want to make here on I Said It First. Find the joy in life. We have not hit bottom. It will get worse before it gets better. And it will get better. You have the perfectly wrong group of people to take power post-Trump. I know everybody thinks Biden is the guy to compromise and get things together as if that's what we need. No. America, the political center of America, was tackled and the shit was beat out of it by Ronald Reagan, and he took the football and ran it right. I think culturally, it's been kind of scattered, but basically to the left. But all the shit that matters went to the right. Taxes, war, power. So you got Joe Biden, as my man Antar says. He'll be dead in 2021 anyway. He probably will be. Then you got Kamala Harris, will most likely be president within the next 4 years. Right? And in the interim, the policies you will get are going to further, unless I'm wrong, right? Unless you, like, we'll know early on. If you don't see a Medicare for all, not just vote, if it doesn't become the law, that is the canary in the coal mine. If in the first year of Biden's presidency, if they don't bring up for vote and pass Medicare for all, then it's more of the same. So more of the same will get you to the same place. The people who were out there yesterday and their families and so on and so forth, and not just Trump supporters, all working class people, and most of those people were working class, although some of them sure rich too, have been suffering not under Trump, not under Obama, but for the fucking since Reagan. All right, we've had 40 years of kleptocracy, which has left people stranded, desperate, and unmoored by society. And unless we create a social fabric through social programs like expanding Medicaid, like jobs programs, like all those things that can bring value and stability in people's lives, you will get more of the same. And when a man's desperate, then why not turn to violence, right? As it gets more complicated and difficult to navigate home ownership, getting through college. You get through college, you got college graduates out here competing for jobs at Starbucks. The prospects are dimming, right? And the only way to rein that in is to redistribute the wealth. The solution is not, and here's where the danger is. Disaster capitalism, right? Blood in the streets, buy real estate. And when people have fear, you are conditioned, kind of like tenderized meat. You're ready to give up freedom and liberty for safety and security. It's a natural thing. It's a natural tendency. Regardless of how you feel about the country, right? If you're, anti-America, whatever, and pro-America, it doesn't even matter. If you weren't part of that mob, you were at home thinking, I hope these motherfuckers don't win. You know what I'm saying? Like, because at the end of the day, all the problems I have with America, I don't want to be governed by those motherfuckers, right? Because that was the next step, right? This was their little, what was the Hitler thing? The broken glass, night of the broken glass, whatever. It's just that theirs failed. That's all. They didn't have the gusto or the coordination, but the motivation, sure, they had it. Just didn't have the talent. But I forgot what the fuck I was talking about. Damn it. I think I had a good point. Does anybody remember? Nobody's probably watching. I didn't even announce this. I know y'all motherfuckers are mad about yesterday. Don't blame me. Blame these edibles. All right. I think I might take another one, though. Well, somebody's watching because somebody just did a thing. Did a emoji. Okay, now you're just fucking with me. Somebody's just fucking with me. I'm gonna keep liking it, nigga. Keep talking. I got more weed in here. I was talking about it's gonna get worse before it gets better. Capitalism, redistributing the wealth. Thank you. Thank you, weed. People do crazy things when they have nothing to lose. And if you're able to, travel, go to Europe sometime and just see how people we fetishize wealth in this country. So everything we do is driven towards financial gain. I'm a culprit myself. I mean, whatever the fucking word is, I'm kind of losing my train of thought. I'm guilty of it too, right? But it's not like that in Finland, where I went last year. Thank you very much. It's cool if you're a doctor, but it's also cool if you're a taxi cab driver. Meaning that the value you assign to an individual is not in any way tied to their financial or career success. It's how you treat people, right? Not that Finland's perfect or whatever, but do you pick up the trash? You don't throw, the streets are fucking sparkling. I never seen a street cleaner either. Just people just fucking, nobody threw their trash on the ground, right? I had a conversation with my daughter today, actually. Not a conversation, more of a lecture and a talking to. I made this huge fucking, I don't know if it was a leg of lamb or goddamn leg of a fucking elephant, but it was a big ass leg of lamb, right? A huge one, right? Came out perfectly. Thank you very much. This guy is a chef. But anyway, long story short, she cooked the vegetables, and then my other son made the sweet potatoes. She didn't make enough vegetables and went to make some more vegetables. Now, mind you, I was busy doing other things. I didn't eat anything yet. None of the lamb, none of the sweet potatoes, none of the vegetables, and she was sauteing up some broccoli, and I went to go get a one little fucking crown of broccoli, right? And she was like, no, that's mine. I said, really? That's yours. And mind you, this is the the most put together of my kids. Like, she's gonna do major things in life. Straight A student, or B in PE. Because she has an attitude, but she'll do big things in life. Like, I'm not worried about her. And I appreciate her grind, her focus, how she'll let anybody get in her way. But I told her, I said, you're selfish. And that is a character flaw. Because and she was going back for me. I said, look, first of all, stop talking. My job as parent, when you leave this house, You're a moral, good person, right? I care that you're successful, and I obviously want to see you be successful, and all my children be successful. But I care more that you're a good person, and that's where I think we need to be as a society as a whole. And the way to do that specifically, I think, is to guarantee the first thing they have to do. They have to guarantee health care for all people, because I think it's almost a spiritual, sacred task to give people that comfort that no matter what, their life has value. You know, everybody has dealt with, you know, a person in their family, maybe cancer, and recently, you know, people a lot. Fortunately for me, nobody's had COVID, but I lost, you know, a bunch of people recently over cancer, and I got my auntie Lucy, God bless the dead, just died 2 weeks ago. And my uncle, they gave him, you know, he's about to pass. And it's so sad when you see within your own family, you got different levels of financial success. How you do in life will have a huge impact on how you go out, and just like the stress and the degradation you have to go to when you're poor and you have to deal with illness. Now, fortunately, like for my father's wife, my stepmom, she has cancer right now, but they're, you know, they do well, and it's fine or whatever. I mean, it's not fine, she has cancer, but they don't worry about, you know, medical bills. But, and I, you know, other people in my family have gotten sick and have. And it just doesn't make sense to me. And even in my own case, I'm my own business. I don't have a job. Not this. This is for fun. But you know, I have to go through the Obamacare, the marketplace, and it's just it's fucking ridiculous. Just this month, I've been on the phone. I just finally finished this today, right? I got my health insurance situated, because every year some bullshit happens. So this year, I switched my insurances in November, right? And the reason why I switched them, because for some reason my kids came off of my other plan from the other provider I had. And I'm like, how the fuck did that happen? Because I took my kids to the doctor. They're like, you're not covered. I'm like, what the fuck you mean I'm not covered? I'm covered. And then sure enough, I wasn't covered. So that was back in October. That was days of work. And I told the other company to fuck off. And I got Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield as of November. So they were fine. So November, December of 2020, I had Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield. Then January 1st, I was automatically switched back to the other motherfucker, Oscar, I think they're called, that I had from October on previously. I just lost my fucking healthcare coverage. And again, now my kids aren't covered. And I'm like, I don't have time for this shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I just want to fucking be happy, you know, create art, do my job, love my kids. And if somebody gets sick, you take them to the fucking doctor. It shouldn't be calculus, right? Medicare for all, it's done with. And all those people out there, MAGA people, split them in half. Half of those people probably are all right. The other half, fuck them. But the other half of them are probably misplacing their anger because they see grandma, you know, couldn't pay her bills or couldn't afford a medicine. And depending on what ecosystem of media you're in, you'll be steered toward the villains, right? Or in who are your allies. So a lot of people are just victims of circumstance, of where they happen to be born, right? If you're in certain areas of West Virginia or Pennsylvania or what have you, then you're going to grow up in a certain kind of culture, and likely you're the kind of person who has, within their own family, seen people suffer as a result of poverty, right? And that's just the white people. That's the Appalachian folks. But the same thing happens, obviously, blacks, browns, everybody, right? Why is it that even if you want to have private health insurance, why is it tied to your fucking job? It doesn't even make sense. Like, who thought that only people employed were worth health care? But here's the thing. The evil villain's gone now. So the thing we have to be vigilant about and diligent about and focused on is watch what the Democrats do. All right? So don't, call me a hater, whatever, a cynic. Doesn't matter. Watch what they do now. They have power. They have the Congress, the Senate, and they have the overall, the presidency, obviously, right? They can pass wherever the fuck they want to pass. So we'll see if they do it. I don't have any hope that we'll get legislation. What we're going to get is we're going to get this drug fix, this $2,000. That's going to be a shot in the arm to the economy. That's going to, it's like when you don't eat all day and you drink a milkshake, you're going to shit it out in 5 minutes. People have been broke for fucking months. That $2,000 going right back to Amazon. Nobody's buying fucking the mutual funds with that. That shit is, I need shit right now. So the rich people just get the money back anyway. Fine, I get it all. But I'm saying, why would anybody, including the rich, be opposed to just a wealth tax? Take half. Like, take half my shit. I'm Jeff Bezos. I'm worth fucking $150 billion. You can take half my shit. I'll still be worth more money than fuck off. That's fuck you money. Then here's the thing. I had this other epiphany. I'm going to end on this. I'm going to give you guys this, I think, solution to capitalism I came up with. And I haven't worked out the math, but I've worked out the framework. And you smart people out there, if anybody wants to intern as a data scientist and a researcher with the I Said It First podcast, now it's not paid. Please inbox me. But it's called the Anything But a Billion. The AB. So like get your abs, right? Anything but a billion capitalism. So here's the way it works. The thing that makes capitalism work is that it aligns with human nature, the competitive nature to best your neighbor. I need bigger cars. I need more shit, right? Because we're a competitive species. We're a community-based species, but we're competitive, especially the males, maybe the females. I don't know. So as long as you have the motivation, as long as you have the ability to ascend, to climb, then people will likely do the things required to climb. Is there some sort of, is a social stratosphere, a straight, what's from like a straight, stratified, whatever the fuck word is. You know what I'm talking about, levels to this shit, right? People will act accordingly. So you tell them what, so let's say rich meant you just fuck people up. Like whoever beat the shit out the most people got the most shit. There'd just be ass whippings all day long. But since it's based on money, people do everything they fucking can to get money because they want more shit. But there's a flaw. There's a fundamental flaw in the balance, the imbalance that capitalism creates. And what I mean by that is there's no limit. There's no limiting counterbalance to capitalism that doesn't replace capitalism. You can limit it vis-a-vis government levies and changes to the laws where capitalism becomes socialism, but then you have to balance out some of the drawdowns of socialism. So here's the fix. Anything but a billion capitalism. You hit the Tres Comos level, right? You hit a billion. You're now a billionaire, right? With the new, what you mean by taxes, Bobby? Oh, you're saying government. He used to be my roommate in college, by the way. So once you become a billionaire, you're guaranteed to never have less than $999,000,000, $999,999, where the fuck that is. $1 less than $1 billion, right? So everything above that money goes into, let's say this, call it a non-governmental fund, right? So you got every billionaire in the country puts all the money into this fund minus the $999 million. $999,999, right? That fund would automatically be the biggest fund there is, right? It'd be trillions of fucking dollars in there, right? And then what we say is the fund, will invest in businesses and do all shit that funds do and buy companies, blah, blah, blah. But the difference is this fund just pays people, right? UBI on crack. And it can be random. It can sometimes do money just fucking shows up in your mailbox, right? And so that's what the people get. The people just get fucking just injections of cash, right? The fund will never go broke because as new billionaires are created with this booming society, more money goes into this fund, right? No, let me answer. I'm gonna get to that. That was a good question. Who's that from? Okay, no, it's not. But I'm gonna get to that. So this fund will be huge and it'll be ever growing and never go broke. Now, for the billionaire, the way it works for you is now your company, let's say you're a Staples, right? You're a billionaire, but now you're going downhill, right? Not so much a billionaire. Doesn't matter because you'll never have less than $999,999,999. So you say, well, that fund that's kind of fucked up because of all these fallen billionaires. But here's the thing. People with billionaires never are not billionaires. And the one or two who do, so the fuck what? Because most billionaires become more and more bigger billionaires. Billionaires fuck you money. Like, as regular folk, we can't even fathom a billion. A billion minutes ago, fucking Jesus was on the earth. Right? If you believe in that shit. They have people with hundreds of billions of dollars. Or tens of billions. Right? It's fuck you money. It's unnecessary. And then, who gives a shit about their great grandkids? That's not good for human beings. Where I know 100 years from now, my lineage will be the fucking richest or the top 1% of humanity. That's not okay, right? You get to look out for the people you can live to see. That's great grandchildren at the most, right? So you're guaranteed your $999 million for a generation. Now, so that's not inheritable. So let's say you were staple, whatever the fuck, so you went down. Until you die, everybody in your lineage, whatever, you got $999,999,999. Then when you die, then you're cut out the system until you guys get back to $1 billion. Somebody out there, work out that math. Anything but $1 billion capitalism. I think it works. I think that if this is adopted, I will get a Nobel Peace Prize. I'm sure there's some mathematicians out there that can prove me right, but this fund will be a super fund. It'll basically be, so to Bobby's question, no, not managed by the government. It'll be managed by rules. By rules, what I mean, like algorithmic rules, right? An auditable, transparent, open source, algorithmic, almost like a constitution baked in code in the blockchain that can never be touched, right? Where as the money goes in the fund, human beings and, market fund managers or whatever manage the fund itself, but the distribution of the dividends that are generated from that fund are done through a code-based constitution, algorithmically, and secured through a blockchain, like contract, right? So that's it. The Anything But $1 Billion fund. I said it first. Trump will be impeached, not for more reasons, because they don't want him to run again. And by they, I mean Republicans. And the third thing and the final thing is we're not at bottom there will be more violence, I predict, and it has to get worse before it gets better. No, but see, Bobby, that's the thing. They won't have a choice, and that's why it works. It's a new form of government, right? Where when you hit $1 billion, it goes into the fund, right? But here's the thing. You're as rich as you can be as a human being, right? At that point in time, nobody can be richer than you, so you got all the shit you need. And you can spend money freely or whatever because you can never go fucking broke, right? Because they're making more money they could spend anyway. You see what I'm saying? But with that, I appreciate y'all, the ones that came out for this random show. I apologize again for yesterday. I'm not doing a show tomorrow because I'm traveling, going to Puerto Rico on Saturday. But if I'm able to, my next podcast will be Monday from the beaches of Puerto Rico. Peace, y'all. Did I get this shit right?